Welcome to Seeds of Wealth and Wellness. Financial and social empowerment is a mindset that requires a transformation of your thinking, your thought processes, health, physical activity, spiritually a foundation, a paradigm for integrity. Financial empowerment also requires a network of like-minded individuals. This 6-part Seeds of Wealth and Wellness series leads to champion lifestyle. You will meet champions who are enriching lives. If you commit to champion mindset, wealth will become your neighbor. Welcome to Seeds of Wealth and Wellness. Your host, educator, and motivator, Professor Melvina Goodman, and I'm Michael D. Edwards, Master Business Developer. You too are a champion at Seeds of Wealth and Wellness. Welcome to Seeds of Wealth and Wellness. Today, many say, is Friday the 13th, and this can be your day to be a champion. It never has to be a bad day. We choose to have great days, good days, and bad days. And today at Seeds of Wealth and Wellness, you will be a champion. I want to welcome my co-host, Professor Melvina Goodman. She has got an incredible look today. Always a different look, but always has a mindset for empowerment. And we have a great topic for you. And more importantly than that, we have a guest, a very special guest today. And you're going to hear more about that. And now my co-host, Professor Melvina Goodman.
Wow, what a great day it is. It is a wonderful day. You know, I've been, every time we've done this show, I've had a different hairstyle. And I'm 55, and so I said I'm going through an identity crisis, and anybody knows that women, their hair is their glory. And so when your hair ain't what you want it to be, I know that's not perfect English, but when your hair ain't what you want it to be, you go through these transitions. And so, but diversity is just a wonderful thing. And so we don't have to stay stuck in the same thing over and over again. And so that's a part of Seeds and Wealth and Wellness. I am excited today to be here with my co-host, Michael Edwards. And we were discussing earlier this week about Nelson Mandela, the major loss to the world in general that Nelson Mandela has passed on, but he left us such great seeds of wealth and wellness, I believe. When I think about his life and what he endured and what he overcame, I feel proud to be alive, you know. So Michael, I just wanted to, just kind of, dialogue a little about, Nelson Mandela and the meaning that he, had for our world, and wow, how much he'll be missed. I was watching Oprah Winfrey, and she had did the interview with him, and she asked him about weaknesses. And it was interesting that he said, yes, I have them, but he could not identify what they were, because he said he chooses to focus on, not on himself, but on others. And I thought that was just so prolific and just so powerful.
It really is. Nelson Mandela has been a foundation, and I really look at the metamorphosis that Nelson Mandela has been through, Professor Goodman. He started off as a community activist. He had incredible passion for what he was doing, and he wanted to see the civil rights movement, and I have to call it the civil rights movement in South Africa. He wanted to see the people empowered there. He wanted individuals to be equal, and he wanted individuals to be able to have a vision and be able to take it all the way to the destiny that it needed to be, and wanted the people to be empowered with the ability to do that. And that reminds me so much of there's a correlation between him and Dr. Martin Luther King. And I truly see that.
And Malcolm X, for that matter.
And Malcolm X.
And Gandhi. And, so we have had great leaders, throughout history who picked up this mantle because they cared about the masses. And, I understand, I'm not sure if this is true, but I believe Mandela came from a royal family. I think I heard this on the news, and that he gave up royalty to, like in the 60s, they had the Black Power movement, power to the people. Like he was really very community oriented, cared about people in general, not just about himself. And I think that says a lot to be a selfless individual.
I look at the path and the journey that he had taken. I see a man who's free, has a passion for the people, a spokesperson for the people. And then I see all of a sudden the incarceration that takes place. I see his team, his soulmate, carrying the vision.
Yes.
Not only was Winnie Mandela carrying the vision, but the whole community was carrying that vision too. And this wasn't about just black and white. This was about people and freedom.
That's exactly right.
And being and equality. You know, I think about some of the great minds that we've seen in our life. After he was incarcerated, he wanted to stand firm. He wanted to stand firm until freedom was at his grasp and at his hand. And then eventually he was released after 27 years and carrying the same torch.
And interestingly, he had a great attitude when he came out of that. And I'm not sure that I could be incarcerated, particularly unjustly, and maintain a sense of well-being, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that he said that they had a choice to make. So there were some other political prisoners, because that's really what he was. He was a political prisoner. And they decided that they had to make a choice about whether they were going to allow the anger to dominate their behavior or they could control the anger. And so that was the power that they had. And so he made a decision that even though the situation made him angry, the officers mistreated him, but he had them to call him Mr. Mandela, like he demanded the respect from them. And that says a lot about him, but he decided not to allow anger to rule, that he would be the ruler. He would master the anger versus the anger mastering him. And I think that's, and for those of us today, thinking about our own lives, how, things happen in our lives and we may allow a situation to define us or dictate how we behave. But really, he's demonstrated the power of the spirit, that you can overcome anything, that you don't have to be defined. Nobody really controls your action. Ultimately, it is up to you how you want to behave.
And talking about Nelson Mandela, on the Seeds of Wealth and Wellness, that we talk about attitudes, we talk about individuals, we talk about people. But I always want our audience to understand and to know that as we talk about Nelson Mandela, there is a Nelson Mandela mindset in all of us. Whether you call it Nelson Mandela, whether you call it the Michael Edwards mindset, it's important to identify who you are, as I have to identify who I am, as I have a vision and an objective and a mission for my purpose, my ultimate purpose in life. I have to be able to carry that purpose out in a strategic plan and move it forward. In business, we talk about business plans. In life, we talk about personal development. And regardless of what it is, we're all going to go through challenges. But do we have the determination, and do we have the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel? And ultimately, even when it's cloudy, the sun rises above the clouds. There's always a sun rising above the clouds. And that's so important to be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel, Professor Goodman.
This is true. This is true. So, I just think he deserves some of our attention today. And hopefully for those of us that are still here, that we would take a page from the notebook of his life and see how we might be able to apply any of that to ourselves going forward, that no matter what yesterday was, you can make a difference in the world. Like we're here to make a difference. That's what I believe. I am here to make a difference in the world. I'm not just here to have my needs met and my wants and my desires, although that's important. But if I'm not here to serve, and I'm reading this book, and I've mentioned this earlier, The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino. And in this book, he meets this person who is considered to be a rag picker. And I absolutely just love this metaphor, because basically the Mandelas, of the world really were looking at those of us who society kind of threw to the wasteland. And so to, look at a life and to be, a rag picker, meaning they don't see any value in you. but there is value there. And I want to help you to move forward. So this program called the Seeds of Wealth and Wellness is Michael and I wanting to deposit seeds into our listeners to become all that you desire to be, to not allow fear or any situation that has occurred in your life, to not allow that to define you, though it is a defining moment, but that you can take that and move forward. And so without further ado, if you have anything else?
Well, the last statement I just wanted to make, because I want to introduce our guest. I am so excited about this guest being on our show, because as we were talking about Nelson Mandela had a plan, he had a mission, and he had a vision. And then he had the obstacles that he had to overcome in order to reach the ultimate goal that not only benefited him, but other people. And I always say the quickest way to success is to help a lot of people.
Exactly
and that is exactly what our guests do. And without further ado, I want to introduce an incredible gentleman by the name of Patrick Kilbrew. And he's an attorney, and he practices civil law, criminal law, and I want Patrick, without further ado, I want Patrick to tell the audience a little bit more about his practice, himself, and then we're going to get into the meat of this.
That's right.
Patrick Kilbrew.
I started practicing law in 1984 in Washington State and moved here in '87 and was admitted to the Virginia State Bar then, and have been practicing here since then. During that time, I've handled a lot of different things in law. For a while, I did bankruptcies, and I started out when I was in law school with the Public Defender's Office my third year, trying misdemeanor cases. I went on, and that's been sort of the theme of my career, has been criminal law. It's something I've always seemed to come back to after my forays into other areas of law. I got off into real estate for a number of years. I had my own real estate title abstracting company, and during the real estate boom, things went real well for that. But when things started winding up on that, I decided it was time to get back to my roots and start doing criminal law again. And that's what I've been doing. I also do some domestic divorces, child custody visitation, issues like that, as well as juvenile criminal work. I've done a lot of court-appointed work in the juvenile courts in the area and have handled a lot of juvenile crime. And that's pretty much what I'm doing now. And I enjoy going to court. I enjoy what I do. I like that each case is different. Every case has its own distinct qualities. And so it's always dealing with something different, and I like that. I like the challenges that presents, and the requirements for doing good courtroom work, that you have the concentration and the knowledge to pull it off.
So let me ask you a question in terms of, because Michael and I were having this conversation about Nelson Mandela, and so you can chime in anywhere on that conversation. I was wondering if you ever had to defend someone who was accused unjustly.
Yes, I have.
Okay, and how did you handle that? And
it's very difficult, in my opinion, for an attorney, if he truly believes he has an innocent client, he or she, and that is, you're really afraid to lose those. You're afraid to lose any case, but in that case, it really seems to crank it up a little bit for me, if I really know that my client's innocent. And I haven't had a lot of clients that I truly believed were innocent, but the ones that I've had, I have gotten acquitted.
You know, Pat, the law states that a client or a citizen is innocent until proven guilty. And being an attorney, regardless of whether the client is innocent or guilty, it puts the attorney in a position when he is defending the client to prepare that case to the best of his ability. And I'm saying that because